Miss Surbhi Jain with us. She's a health tech entrepreneur, innovator, and the founder of a startup called Neend. After graduating from IIT Bombay and working at a leading investment firm, Surbhi started the journey of Neend to improve many people's life. Till date, they have helped more than 2 lakh people improve their sleep quality without any medication. Without any further delay, let's get Surbhi and hear some amazing insights we take from her. Hi Surbhi, welcome to our podcast series Health Warriors by Yabushu Cares. And we are so excited to have you today here.
Thank you so much. I'm also very excited.
Good to know. And I've got a lot of questions to ask, particularly because we both work in the healthcare industry, and I'm pretty sure that we'll learn a lot from you and your work. Yeah. So Surbhi, I'd just like to kickstart with knowing that how did you get into the sleep category in the first place? Why sleep after doing your engineering?
So it's a long story actually. I'm mostly like in health segment by accident. I never thought I'll do something in health honestly earlier because I thought you need a lot of expertise to be in this. But something happened in COVID which led me to basically lose on my sleep, and that led me to do a lot of research in
Mm-hmm.
this, and then started in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I look back, there are a lot of honestly clues where I should have
Mm-hmm.
picked it up. But yeah, this happened by accident. This is not something which I planned, honestly.
Okay. And like before this, before building Neen, you were also investing in startup, and before that, you were, you graduated from IIT Bombay. So can you just walk us through that journey? How has it been for you?
Yeah. So, see, I'm from a very small town. Then IIT Bombay happened. IIT Bombay was sort of a pivotal point in life where I sort of got to know about a lot of things. And startup is also an option, or entrepreneurial journey is also an option, is something which I learned at IIT
Mm-hmm.
Bombay while seeing other colleagues or friends,
Mm-hmm.
etc., starting up. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
though I come from a like business family, but being from a like small town, all these business options were always for women there. So I never
Right.
thought about or doing a traditional business because I knew that is not an option for me. But ID Bombay gave me that unique like sort of opportunity and like different way to think about it as well. So the idea
Mm-hmm.
was from college itself was to do something on your own. Uh, but then
Mm-hmm.
I thought to learn a little bit in the beginning and hence planned the journey accordingly. So spent couple of years in the startup ecosystem while building something by joining an early stage startup. Then also happened to join a venture capital firm to learn on any opportunity. How do you think from a macro point of view, or like what kind of sectors are there? How do you evaluate an opportunity? Because that is also an important piece before starting up. So did that for a while. That also built some interest on investing side, and
Mm-hmm.
then even after leaving the venture capital firm, I still kept doing personal checks basically.
Mm-hmm.
That happened for 4 5 years, and then I was almost about to start something that didn't work out. Happened to join a company again, and there also
Mm-hmm.
was very fortunate to work with a lot of founders on their scaling journey, and that also gave a lot of learnings.
Mm-hmm.
And in COVID, then accidentally me and my entire family got infected by COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
I sort of lost my sleep on it.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, and even during the college as well, I was someone who was sort of infamous for sleeping at any point of time anywhere. And my friends used to so whenever it came to sleep, my friends used to identify me by she's someone who will sleep even in a metro just on a pillow, like leaning on a pillar as well. But this was the time when, because of the stress, physical strain, because I was facing the COVID infection myself as well, multiple things came in, and I sort of lost my sleep for a couple of months, and that was the time I sort of deeply in started like sort of learning about sleep and what goes or what are the key elements which sort of impact our sleep. At the same time, also started looking for a lot of solutions, like for solutions, but there were not a lot of solutions in the market.
Mhm. Right.
And non-medicinal, if you see, there are hardly solutions available in the market. And when it comes to medicine, there's obviously a fear that you can get addicted to it, it has long term impact, etc. So with all those factors in mind, this was something which triggered that if the problem is so big and I was facing it myself for the first time in my life, so I could put myself in someone's shoe, and see that, if you become sleepless for, or if you face sleep deprivation for a couple of days, it starts impacting all of your life aspects, basically, be it personal, professional, or whatever. uh,
Right.
that hit me really hard, and which led to starting of the name, basically.
Right. And like one thing which you rightly pointed out is that, like many people, like yourself, when you face the sleep problem, that's when you started exploring the non-medicinal thing. But many people, they still rely on medicines, and they're like, okay, let's have a medicine and I'll fall asleep. So when it comes to the non-medicinal form of improving your sleep quality, so can you throw some more light on that how we can do that?
Sure. So there are multiple ways, honestly. So sleep is never the root cause of, or sleep is not the main problem, basically, and it's the sort of a derived problem. The root cause problem is something else in your health. So it could be, for example, related to mental health. It could be related to your physical health. It could be because of the lifestyle as well, and it could be led by some other external factors as well. Once you
Right.
have sleep related problem, this can become a root cause problem for many other problems in your life. So for example, you might start having heart related problems, and you might gain a lot of weight as well, by the way. um,
Right.
so sleeplessness can become a root cause for many other problems, but to start with, sleep was not the root cause, basically. So what we try to do is that try to understand the problem itself, and help the users to fix that root cause itself by making certain lifestyle changes, and those could be honestly very very minor as well. But it's just the education related to sleep is so low, in like in our country, that people are not aware that even like us, like, evening coffee can impact their sleep, or
Right.
when, like, let's say vitamin deficiencies can impact your sleep. So
Mhm.
we try to identify all those and help people to have a better sleep. At the same time, content is something which works for everyone in spite of what problem they are facing. So even if it's a physical health or mental health or even lifestyle related issues, sleep content sort of helps your brain to sort of relax, and your brain sort of controls your entire body.
Right.
And that's how basically we work with the customers right now. We provide sleep content which helps them to get a little
Mhm.
relaxed, and once you are relaxed, then you'll tend to sleep automatically.
Right, right. So I was also reading a lot of your Play Store and App Store reviews, and I can see how much people love you for the work that you're doing. So can you just take us to the back end of it and tell us about how exactly are you framing the stories? Right, there are a lot of Nidra stories and sleep inspired stories. So what process goes in the back end of that?
Sure. So in the beginning, like for starting 5 6 months, we have done like a really deep research about the topic, what should go into it, and not just the like research, but a lot of user interviews as well. And we happen to write from our first principle thinking in the beginning and started testing with that, and a lot of user feedback came on that, and which made us to basically sort of create a playbook around what should go in a story, what should not go. So now the process looks like this, that we have a bunch of uh, artists with us on creators writer side as well, at the same time on the narration side as well, and those are also filtered with a like a very thorough process where we check multiple parameters in terms of their, for example, if it's a voice, then is this
Mm-hmm.
voice sleepy enough for someone or relaxing enough for someone to listen, etc. So the
Mm-hmm.
team has multiple parameters across which they basically shortlist profiles and then make this pool of couple of creators and which are writers and narrators basically. But whenever it comes to a creation of a story, there's a sort of guideline which this team follow when they write the stories. Then the story comes to us, we do all the checks and we read it thoroughly and give them inputs again, and then there are some to and fro's on that front, and then a story is crafted basically. And there
Mm-hmm.
are different elements which are basically supposed to help people to, like, relax. So for example, the beginning part of the story is very meditative, it's relaxing. So if you
Mm-hmm.
like do a body scan activity or focus on your
Okay.
breath, that
Mm-hmm.
half of the job is done there itself once a user
Mm-hmm.
follows.
Mm-hmm.
Second is there should not be any negative element in the story. It shouldn't be very exciting. So the job is very tricky here, that you don't make
Yeah.
the story as exciting as well that the user get engaged. At the same time, it's not as boring as well that someone don't want to even start listening to it. So
Right.
so that there's a very thin line basically where you have to play, and
Mm-hmm.
all that is done very carefully crafted. Once the story part is crafted carefully, then we send it to a narrator who basically does the narration, and there then the team does a lot of checks. They listen it to themselves. They sort of sleep as well while listening to the story. Sometimes because it's so sleepy.
That's the success of the story when the team who made it sleeps while listening to them.
So
So,
couple
yeah.
of them actually then do this test, and if it doesn't fit into the criteria, then the iterations would happen again and again, and then
Mm-hmm.
finally the story comes out. That also we launch it for a couple of percentage of users in the beginning, capture some
Okay.
feedback. If that feedback and then we ask a very simple question to them that, hey, did this story help you to fall asleep or not, which is very binary in nature and no BS, right?
Hmm.
And if that feedback is more than 85% positive, then only we roll it out for the entire audience. If not,
Okay.
then we roll it back, and that story just lies in our storage for no reason.
That is like so interesting because like I never thought that so much science, so much experimentation is going behind.
Yeah,
Because for the user who is just signing up, right? For them it's just a story which is making them fall asleep.
right.
But the way you explain that it has to be engaging, meditative, not too engaging.
Yeah,
So yeah, great work on the stories, especially making it so many of them.
yeah.
So, Surbhi, I also saw that apart from stories, you're also into gummies and some sleep products. So, how did that come into picture?
Sure. See, India as a country has a lot of co-sleeping pattern. We live in a society where we stay with our family, um, and if when it comes to parents as well, most of time they sleep with their small kids, etc. as well. Not all the time they are able to listen to the content, and we used to hear this from our users. And though our content is like really effective, I think that's one of the best solution in the market. More than 90% of the times when someone listens to the content, they fall asleep within 10
Wow.
15 minutes itself. So we knew that the efficacy of the content is more than like anything else in the market. It's actually vis-a-vis sleep pills as well. So it's comparable. But then also because of this kind of structure and content is also not everyone's cup of tea. Sometimes you are not comfortable putting a earphone in your ear while sleeping. So with all that in mind, we thought let's try a couple of alternate solutions as well for our users, and that's where we started with these retail products. The philosophy there is very simple, that these products should be fun to consume, easy to consume, and at the same time make you feel either relaxed or sleepy. So, for example, you can see that we also have a couple of products on relaxation side as well. So, relaxing spray, relaxing gel mask because your eyes are strained after like working for a couple of hours. then
Mm-hmm.
sleep gummies, sleep tea, etc. So some of these
Yeah.
products actually help you to just relax, and then you'll fall asleep naturally yourself. Some of these
Mm-hmm.
products regulate your circadian rhythm and will help you to sleep early as well.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So, like when you develop these products, like do you also conduct some experimentation as you do in the content side?
Yeah. So you'll find it is maybe like strange or interesting. I don't know, but our sleep tea, which we launched, for example, took 10, uh, 10 months for us to launch once we decided and started
God.
experimenting. So we've talked to like 100 plus vendors and experimented the tea piece itself on more than 1,000 users as well. And we ourselves as a team, we have gone through those iterations over and over again and recorded every experiment that this much sleep increased because of this. I was
Wow.
having broken sleep, but now I'm not, or like to what extent, how
Mhm.
much deep sleep improved, how much REM sleep improved, and the sleep latency as well, which is the capability of you falling asleep in X minutes, how much that
Mhm.
reduced as well. And that experimentation we have done over and over across these 10 months, and then also happened to try an experiment on a couple of volunteers who are completely unbiased. And then once we became 100% confident on the product from our end, then we launched it. So it's a very iterative and very rigorous process to launch any product. One or two products we have been lucky to where we could launch those immediately as well, but
Mhm.
most of the products we have to go through this entire request process.
It's good to know that you know everything which you do, because when it comes to sleep, like if you talk about sleeping pills, right? They have a lot of harmful effects as well. There are a lot of side effects involved. But it's good that you're experimenting with all the things and then only bringing it to the end
Yeah,
user.
so we are in health space, right? We can't take risk on any of the consumers' health. So it has to go through the rigorous process only. There's no other
Right.
way around. Yeah.
Right. So while experimenting, Surbi, like you know, if you talk about sleeping pills, there are a lot of side effects which come with it. So have you seen any such side effect with the sleep products that Neend is building?
Not really. So honestly, so for example, there are a couple of products where there are caveats that these are the users who shouldn't consume it. So for example, a couple of our products are melatonin based as well, and
Mm-hmm.
pregnant women shouldn't consume those. In fact, people with heart disease or who are on antidepressants are not supposed to take that. There
Mm-hmm.
we sort of put it upfront itself and on the packaging and everywhere. Even we send those sort of instructions as well when someone purchases the product before even shipping and after shipping as well. So we
Mm-hmm.
do all those checks when it comes to these products, but apart from that, we haven't seen any side effect
Mm-hmm.
particularly.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, like, since you have been in this space since I think more than 2 years now,
Yeah.
so what are the you know your key findings or the unexpected things which most people don't know about sleep? What, can you tell us about that?
Sure. So there are a bunch of things. So, for example, people and when it comes to sleep, people are very not so aware, right? In India, even if it comes to like the problem as well, so they would identify that I'm not able to sleep well, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
they are not aware that there are solutions now in the market, so they happen to accept the problem as it is, in spite instead of looking for solution.
Mm-hmm.
So one is that. Second, when it comes to even awareness, they are not aware of what kind of factors are impacting their sleep. So for example, as simple as I just talked about sleep, vitamin deficiencies, coffee consumption, physical
Mm-hmm.
exercise. There are bunch of these factors which plays a role. Then they are not aware about like sleep stresses as well. So the awareness level is really really low, right? um, Now coming to the findings part, it's mostly controlled by brain, right? So what we have seen that more than 70-80% of the percent of the times when we talk to a consumer, they feel that the brain is really really active, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't know why, and they think it's a problem with them. But the reality is that if you consume so much screen time from morning, the moment you wake up to late evening, um, and you don't give any pause, or you don't take any like rest or like couple of minutes for yourself, then at the end when you are spending that some time with yourself, which is trying to fall asleep, your brain would process all this information in your brain. I
Right.
mean, it would, the information whatever you consumed would be processed. Otherwise, like how would you, like, uh, that's very natural for a human being to do. Earlier, when we were not in, like, so much information heavy world, let's say 10 years back, we naturally were having all these pauses in between, and we were able to process the information even after like couple of hours or minutes, etc. But now all that is sort of kept postponing, and then it happens in the last hour. Now it, and the user or the customer actually thinks that, that something is wrong with me, and which is not. The brain would process the information,
Right.
and you are going to face that problem basically. So that's where also, like, we try to do something, and that's where the content also plays a role, that how do we distract you, and then the processing would automatically happen when you sleep as well, right? So the brain, when the information is processed, is highly active, and in sort of a concentration mode, whereas to fall asleep you need to be very relaxed, and your brain should not, also should be in the mode of shutting down rather than, like, being active again.
Right.
So all these things, we are also like, it took us some time to figure out, and then helping the users as well. There are a bunch of other things which are misconceptions in the market. So for example, people think that sleeping early and then waking up early is really good, and that's how it should be. But the thing is that it's a myth. Shouldn't be. It should be dependent. I mean, there are different kind of personas, right? And different things works for people. So for example, I know that you are a morning person and you wake up early, and that really works for you. So you can study in the morning, and then that would work for you. But for me, that doesn't work. I'm more of a night owl. If I study in the night hours, that works better for me. But if
Mhm.
I, and even if I force myself to like sleep early and wake up early, I can't study in the morning because I would feel sleepy again, and those are not my best hours. So everyone actually should optimize on their whatever works for them, rather than fixing a schedule for, like, it's not a one fit solution eventually.
Right.
Similarly, there are misconceptions or myths around. For example, someone is snoring, then like ये तो खराटे बेच के सो रहा है, right? या
Mhm.
घोड़े बेच के सो रहा है, या कुंभकर्ण को, for example, people used to think कि since he was snoring, he was having a really good sleep. But that's actually a myth. Snoring also happens because of an obstruction getting created in our
Okay.
respiratory system,
Uh-huh.
which is not good. In fact, people who are snoring might be having lesser deep sleep, and their quality of sleep is actually not proper. Versus
Okay.
people who are not snoring might be having better sleep.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so the awareness is like really low, and we are also figuring out things on the go and helping people.
Yeah, so I think like that's pretty interesting. Even I had some of the misconceptions which got cleared now. One of them being, like you said, that people have this misconception that you should sleep early and wake up early.
Right.
And somewhere I've also read that the sleep between 10 to 2, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the best sleep that one can get. So do you think that is also a misconception?
Yeah, I think, everyone has their own sleep schedules, and I mean, everyone has their best hours separately. It's just the, like, you need to I agree with one fact, which is that you need to fix your sleep schedule. So if you are sleeping at 12 in the night, that's fine, but co- you be consistent on that. So whatever becomes your ideal sleep schedule, in the first couple of 4 hours, basically, you get your maximum deep sleep. The second half
Okay.
of your sleep doesn't have much of deep sleep. So
Okay.
if your cycle is, for example, 10 to whatever, like 6, or then you'll obviously have maximum of your deep sleep between 10 to, 12, sorry, 10 to 2. But
Mhm.
if my ideal sleep cycle is from 12 to 8, then for me that becomes 12 to 4 a.m.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And
It's
so
not
we
that those night hours are specifically emitting something which is making you feel sleepy or having better sleep, but yeah.
Okay. So, if we talk about, the sleeping hours, since we are talking about that, So, like, it's also said that you should sleep for 7 to 8 hours, and
Right.
then there are some people who are done with 6. So, is there any fixed number of hours which we should sleep, or does that depend on person to person?
So yeah, it does vary person to person as well, honestly. But what is talked most about in the media or even like the awareness what we have is around 7 to 8 hours, because that's the average person needs that kind of a sleep. If you
Mhm.
talk about, so you'll always see people who are actually able to sleep for 5 hours as well, and then also they are really fine. They feel fresh when they wake up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Actually, really thin percentage of population, which is roughly 0.1%, folks, they are blessed that way that even if they sleep for 4 5 hours, they are that's enough for them and they'll feel fresh and
Mhm.
energized.
Okay.
But for most of us, which is 99.9% people, if we have 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 hours of sleep, that would be more fruitful or successful sleep.
Okay, okay. So I think that clears a lot of the doubts which our listeners must be having right now, because I think when even since we also deal with sleep not extensively, but it's just one pillar of our entire weight loss thing. So we come up with people who have a lot of doubts about the number of hours which they sleep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think the key to figure out how many number of hours are optimum for you is to experiment a little bit and see that what is the sweet spot where you are feeling comfortable, you are feeling fresh and energized in the morning, not groggy or like you
Mm-hmm.
having some sort of headaches or anything. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are finding yourself very energetic and fresh even after 7 hours of sleep, that is also fine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay, great. So, Survi, let's come to the challenges which Neend is facing right now. So, moving forward, what do you think is the biggest challenge that Neend has to face?
So see, from very beginning itself, the biggest challenge for us to is create that awareness that your sleep problems you don't need to accept as it is. We are here to give you a bunch of solutions, and you just need to like try these out, and most probably your sleep problems would come to an end. So
Mm-hmm.
awareness, I think, would remain a problem going forward as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another problem what I've seen in the healthcare industry is the trust, that so
Right,
many counterfeit products etc has been there, or um, people have been feeling cheated for so
right.
long that it's very difficult for them to create that trust when it comes to healthcare. It's an irony that most of our like Indian parents or Asian parents, if you talk about, they want their
Mhm.
kid to become a doctor.
Right,
But when it comes to going to a doctor, they don't want to go to a doctor themselves because there's a lot
right,
of mistrust. They feel, अरे डॉक्टर के पास जाऊंगा तो 500 रुपए की फीस ले लेगा, बहुत सारी मेडिसिन लिख देगा, टेस्ट लिख देगा. So that mistrust is there, that it has become a money making industry, right? So I think we need to do a lot of work there and create that trust with our customers, that this is not just for like making money. Obviously, as an institution, as a company, you need to make money to survive or become sustainable, but
Mhm.
we are also here to create a lot of value and
Mhm.
make their lives better.
Right. So, like, exactly the point that, there's a lot of mistrust nowadays.
Yeah.
People think, like, let's say if we talk about, even when doctor recommends some tests to the patient, then people have this doubt that this person is looting me, right? So many times they don't conduct the test, and as a result, they have to face problem in the future,
Right.
right? And sometimes it's wrong on the doctor's part as well, where they're intentionally just writing the test. So, in general, if I talk about the healthcare industry, how do you think, how can the future health tech entrepreneurs, how can they build this trust in the market?
I think going forward, I think there'll be a lot of transparency as well in the system. So, for example, we can see even right now as well, if I talk about sleep itself, um, there are so many digital trackers, watches, etc. Right? So the customers can actually track their sleep pre using Neend as a solution and post using Neend as a solution as well. Earlier, there could
Uh-huh.
be otherwise a lot of ambiguity that whether it's helping you or not. But now you
Mhm.
can track for yourself. You can see how much your sleep latency earlier, for how many hours you were awake versus now. Let's say if you take means any product or services, you can check whether that reduced or improved for you in any sense, and
Okay.
henceforth, like that also helps to build that trust.
Okay.
So
Okay.
a lot
So.
of things like that, and in fact, like digital records, etc. And there are second opinions people can take on internet as well. There's a lot of information on internet now where you can check on basic level that if certain parameters are not. So, for example, full body test, right?
Mhm.
Now, let's say if I go through a full body test and any parameters are up or down for me, I can just go on
Mhm.
internet and check whether, like, what should be the ideal range, and what does it mean for me. So there's a lot of awareness automatically which comes with being digital in nature,
Mhm.
and having that access to the information, right?
Mhm.
So I think that trust gap which was there, I think would bridge now with us as health institutions as well using it, and the customers as well having the access to it.
Right. And I think, customers nowadays are very aware and they really want to know what goes behind the back so that they
Right.
can ensure that, their health is in the right hands. So, yeah, you rightly said that transparency is the key
Yeah.
to building that trust. So, Surbhi, like you're a CEO, right? And you have a lot on your plate to do. So, being a CEO, how do you manage your need?
Uh, okay, honestly, for us and for me personally as well, when we see that more of our or most of our customers are sleeping well, that gives us a lot really good sleep automatically. Because
Mhm.
at the end, it's about satisfaction, and from whatever you are doing for, like, and a lot of effort goes into whatever we do. So just knowing that our users are sleeping well helps us to as well sleep well, and we and deal with the work stress as well. So if we are creating that impact, and we are getting that output what we wanted, then that really helps. But that doesn't limit us to not look at other health aspects. So for example, personally for me, I honestly put a lot of effort in my health, be it like the kind of meals I take on daily basis, or what time do I eat,
Mhm.
or even health checkups which I need to undergo every year, etc. And how much physical activity I need to do on daily basis. I put a lot of effort, so that
Mhm.
honestly keeps me sane. Otherwise, having a desk job and doing so much work, I think it's very easy to gain a lot of weight as well,
Right.
and not being healthy is very easy with this kind of lifestyle. But a lot of effort goes into that as well. And
Right.
for mental health side as well, we use our own product as well, and I do some sort of meditation as well to keep myself safe.
Right. So, like you said about doing health checkups. So
Yeah.
nowadays, I see many people who haven't done health checkups even once in their life, and all of a sudden a problem comes,
Right.
which is kind of very severe, and then they're like, "Oh, it happened all of a sudden," but in fact, it was building over a period of time, right?
Right.
So when it comes to health checkups, how often do you do that, and how often should people do that?
So I undergo it like once in a year right now. But that, having said that, I don't have any health issue. This is just to surface if in case,
Mhm.
to just know about the unknowns in the health.
Okay.
But if someone has any precondition, etc., which they are on medication as well, I think they should do it more often, which could be every 6 months or depending on what their doctor consults.
Okay, okay,
Once
yeah,
in a year is definitely a must for everyone, even if you are healthy.
right, right. And I think this is a very important key takeaway that even if you're healthy, you should undergo the health checkups so that everything is in place.
Like,
So, Surbhi, like I would just like to, conclude this podcast by asking one last question, which is that, what advice would you like to give to our listeners who on improving their sleep quality?
sure. So I think the key is to stick to a particular sleep schedule first. We often undermine that and keep sleeping at whatever time we want to sleep. So don't underestimate that, and then try to take 7 8 hours of sleep. Follow a healthy sort of regime, which is having good meals, do your regular physical exercise, etc. And in the end, when you are trying to wind up, if you are not able to sleep, then use Neend app as well. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, I would highly recommend Neem to anyone who wants to improve their sleep quality. And also, like, when it comes to their health, I think there are multiple pillars which play a role, as you said, right? Your physical activity, your nutrition, stress management, and your sleep, right?
Yeah.
And many times when it comes to health, I see people focusing only on the first two pillars, which is
Like,
their physical activity and their nutrition, right? But I think now it's time that people start focusing on stress and sleep as well in order to have a good health.
yeah, so it's all related, so if you're not able to sleep well, or if you are sleep deprived, the next day you are going to feel a little not yourself. You'll feel a little dissatisfied from your internal mindset as well, and that also sort of triggers your cravings, etc. You feel that maybe if I have this dessert, I'll feel better, etc.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of
Right,
people do junk eating as well because they are sleep deprived.
right,
And yeah, so it's all related, right? Food, nutrition, exercise, and sleep all are interlinked in some way. So you can't
right.
leave one pillar out of it and just work on others. That would not work out. So yeah, please
Absolutely.
work on everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Neend, I think, also has a great YouTube channel with more than 100K subscribers. So, yeah, people who are listening to this podcast, how much?
200K now.
200K now. Wow. So, people who are listening to this podcast right now, please go ahead and subscribe to their channel. And Surbhi, thanks a lot for your valuable insights on Neend. And I'm sure that it will help a lot of people. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank,
Bye. Have
thank you so much.